Hey everybody, welcome back to our series on how to grow your YouTube ministry and audience. We're going through the 10 Commandments of digital missions. I hope that the first two have been very practical, very helpful, because now we're going to kind of shift our attention towards the audience development and growth section. This is really what we're going to be focusing on the most because that's what people are really interested in. How do we increase our reach online? And we're going to start off by kind of going a little bit slower so that we can go faster later on. Commandment number 3 is simply this: thou shalt have a clearly defined target market. It's ironic, but one of the very first steps to growing an audience and reaching the world and to have like this massive impact, right, is to actually stop trying to grow and to reach the world. Instead, what we need to do is we want to define a clearly defined target market. Rather than thinking about 1 million people, we want to think about one person. And our goal is simply to reach one person with our channel. Now, if you think back to what you were taught, if you've ever taken like a speech class, or if you've sat through like a homiletics class or something like that, generally one piece of advice that is given is they want you to think about one person who's in the auditorium, one person that's in the church sitting in the pews. Find that one person and speak to that one person. As you're writing the sermon, you're thinking about one person in particular who's going through a particular set of circumstances or has a particular question, and that's the person that you're really trying to minister to. Now, you're not necessarily going to only reach that person, but your focus is there so that way you can reach a specific type of person, and the people that are around them, generally speaking, are also impacted as well. So this is actually exactly what I want to challenge you to do with an online platform, with digital mission work, with online video. Think about this for yourself, for your church, and for your ministry. Who are you trying to reach? Many churches answer the question with a very noble answer of everyone. We're trying to reach anyone and everybody who is open to the gospel. And that's a great larger picture vision, and it's noble, but for the purpose of digital missions, it is too shallow of an answer to the question. You see, every single person is unique. You obviously know this already. Every person that you're trying to reach, as well as the person doing the reaching. I'm a unique person. You're a unique person. The pastor down the street is a unique person. And we all have different gifts. We have different skills, interests, hobbies, cultural backgrounds, and life experiences. And we know this intuitively. In fact, this is why at a local church level, when it comes to a season of evangelism, it's not enough. We know that it's not good enough to simply hire an evangelist to bring them in, and that person's going to do all the work. What do we do when we're trying to actually reach our community? We don't rely on 1 or 2 people. Instead, we rely on every single person in the church. And we say everyone needs to get involved because it's through this diversity that you can actually reach a community. And I've been equipped to reach a certain type of person with a certain background, and chances are that you can't actually reach that person. You can reach people that I never could reach, and so this is we know to be true of evangelism, but this directly carries over into digital ministry. You need to create an avatar, and you need to clearly define who it is that your target market is. An avatar is like this pseudo person. It's not like necessarily a real person. You need to come up with a character that is the ideal audience member for your videos. You need to think about what are your skills, what are your resources, and who is it that you believe God has best equipped you to reach, and put that person, literally write that person down on a piece of paper. The goal of this exercise is eventually, when people are kind of perusing through all the different channels that are out there, they're asking all these different questions, and they find your specific channel, they find your specific video, you want the emotion, the sense to be that, oh my goodness, I have found a channel that feels directly tailored for me. And what happens as a result is, as you do this more and more and more, you start to create this community with people with similar backgrounds, with similar interests, with similar goals and beliefs on life. And what happens is your audience begins to self-select around your channel, around your personality, around your content. And so this, in a very roundabout way, you might think that If I try to reach everybody, then I have the opportunity to reach everybody. But if I try to aim towards one person, then I'm going to miss a lot of people along the way. What happens is that the more focused you are with your channel strategy, the more focused you are with your avatar, and you know specifically who you're trying to reach, you actually end up reaching more people as a result. And so rather than limiting your influence, it actually will expand it, because when people visit your channel, they're going to be able to see more clearly, this is who this channel is for. It's for this specific type of person with this interest and with this background. So I want to challenge you. This video is much more simple than the other ones. It's going to require more work on your end after the video is done. But I want you to sit down and think about your character. Who is the person that you're trying to reach? What is their name? Is it a he or is it a her? How old are they? What stage in life are they at? Have they gone through college? What is their educational level? Are they single? Are they in a relationship, or are they married? Because each of those three things can send you down a different path. Are they religious people? If so, what denomination are they? What type of background do they have? Are they maybe non-religious people? Who are the kinds of people that you're trying to reach? What hobbies do they have? What kind of things do they do when they are spending time for fun? What do they do for a job? And what's their life story? What are some of the defining characteristics that they have gone through? To kind of help you flesh this out and give you an example of what I mean, the person that I'm trying to reach with my videos, it's pretty simple. My person is about 16 or 17 years old. This person is male. If he was to fill it out on Facebook, he would be in a complicated relationship. This person was raised Christian, but at this stage of his life is really questioning the relevance of his beliefs. He went to Christian schools, went to church growing up, and yet in this particular stage of his life, he's actually questioning a lot of his core convictions. Is this really how I want to live my life? Does faith really matter? Is God really real? And is this something that I really want to take seriously, or do I want to just abandon my faith altogether? And really one of the major struggles that he has in his life is trying to understand how faith actually makes a difference in his day-to-day life. He believes that church is something that you simply do on the weekends, in the same way that you might join a soccer club, or the same way that you might have a sewing club. It's just something that you do, but it doesn't really permeate throughout the rest of your day, the rest of your life. And rather than giving up, his goal is really just to dedicate a season of his time, of his life, to dedicate a couple months to really seriously considering his faith that he's been growing up with. Because at the end of the day, if it's not real, if it's not relevant, he doesn't want any part of it. He wants to just let it go and move on with his life. So he's really seriously considering his faith and really down to give it a very fair shot. Oh, and by the way, this person's name, this avatar, this young man, his name is Justin. And the reason why this avatar is created is because simply this is exactly who I was when I was in high school. My channel's avatar, my channel's person that I'm specifically trying to reach is me when I was, a junior, senior in high school. I'm specifically taking the advice that I've received from other mentors and pastors in the past, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I think about my experience back when I was in high school, and I think about the people that made a difference for me, that helped me to connect with God, to have a personal relationship with Jesus, and really began the process of discipling and mentoring me. I think back to my journey. What were the subjects and the questions that I had? What were the challenges that I faced? And really, what were the answers? What were the responses? And how did this book, how did the Bible actually speak hope into my life and make a difference for me? And so my videos are all intended to reach Justin at that stage of his life. Now, of course, other people will find this content valuable. Other people will find this material to be relevant. But when I'm thinking about my ideal person, I'm thinking about me in that stage of my life. And so this has really helped give me clarity and focus when I'm thinking about, because after a certain amount of time, you run out of all the easy ideas of what you're going to be thinking about. I've been doing this ministry now for a couple of years, and I've made, I want to say it's like somewhere over 400 or 500 videos already about various subjects and questions. And when I struggle to find a topic for the next video, or what else can I dive into, all I need to do is I need to teleport myself back to that stage of my life, to that frame of mind, and think to myself, what was going on? What were some of the challenges in my life? I think about my friends and my circle of influences, and I think about that season, and then I have a little bit more clarity as to how I move forward. What happens as a result is that my audience is, again, self-selecting, but I find that, my audience is is very similar to me. From that stage of my life. They're not necessarily senior citizens, It's not, my channel isn't necessarily valuable for people with children, right? It's not necessarily valuable for middle school children because that season of life had a very unique set of circumstances and challenges. But what does happen, and what is super cool to see, is that my present audience of over 50,000 plus, hundreds of thousands of views every single month, what I'm seeing is a vast majority of these people have the exact same story that I had back in those days. A good chunk of them are still in high school or maybe early college. A good chunk of them are struggling with their relationships. A good chunk of them are struggling with purpose and their calling and their career in life. And I find that because I've had such success in defining my clear audience, I now have what would be required to basically speak to those needs. Since I've lived through those experiences, I can now speak to those people with relevancy and with potency. And so the biggest takeaway I want for you guys to take away from this video is to clearly define your audience. Take a couple hours, literally hours, to sit down, write down on a piece of paper over several paragraphs who is your ministry for. Don't just go one level and say, oh, my ministry is for, young people. Okay, good. Young people. What kind of young people? Go another level deeper. Male or female? Go another level deeper. How old are they? Go another level deeper. What are their hobbies? And answer several of these questions for yourself and define on paper who you're trying to reach. In the handout that you have for this section of this commandment, there will be a couple other links included with other valuable questions that you can ask yourselves, a couple other tips and advice for defining your avatar, defining your target market. Go through those exercises, come back, and we will continue our series on 10 Commandments with commandment number 4, which is going to be starting to talk about your actual channel strategy. We'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.